सबा जी अस्सलाम वालेकुम वेलकम टू कश्मीर केयर फाउंडेशन। आपको वेलकम क्या करें, आप कश्मीर केयर फाउंडेशन है, यू आर कोर working group member, you contribute so immensely, but formally to welcome you for two reasons. One is to put a spotlight on you for your accomplishments, your contribution, and second, to have a primer conversation for our session on 27th of April at 10:30 a.m. local time in Kashmir. Well, Sabaji, tell your audience about Sabaji a little bit. How did Sabaji become Sabaji?
Hi, Assalamu alaikum. Thank you, Dr. Altaf. Honored to be part of Kashmir Care Foundation and part of this Spotlight series. I am now an educator of 15 years in the mountains of Doda district in Jammu and Kashmir. I started off in Dubai, born and raised there till my high school. Very good schooling, very typical Kashmiri upbringing in our home with a lot of my family there. So Pufis and growing up with cousins, very much like you would in Kashmir, Kashmiri food at home, Kashmiri language. So grew up like we were back here, but with more facilities and privileges. Then the real education phase of my life started in once I was in high school and college. That was 10 years in Bangalore, and my first phase of working. I'm a commerce graduate. I started my chartered accountancy working, and then I completely switched lines to editing, writing, and so on. And in 2008, something happened back home, and it was like I was at work, and something happened back at Kishtwar, my Nanihal, and I decided I just have to leave everything and get back to Jammu Kashmir, where we eventually then started this school that I'm now part of, Haji Public School. Our family runs it. And it's in a village, it's in a very remote Pahari village in Jammu and Kashmir and Doda. And that is what I've been doing now for the past 15 years and learning on the go and hopefully trying to do better for the kids around us.
Thank you so much, Sabaji. Through you and through your uncle, learned a little bit about Haji family in Doda and the larger parts of Jammu province. We'll have that conversation later at some point. जो हमारी conversation हो रही है, जो session है, that is on happiness and success. How do you balance these two things in the school life, in college life, and then there are other phases of our life. स्कूल लाइफ भी बहुत पहले से शुरू होती है. बच्चा जो एलिमेंट्री स्कूल में जाता है. I was talking to someone, a mom, a couple of days ago, and she asked the question to her 7th grader, what does happiness mean to her? उनका जवाब था, बच्ची का जवाब था कि मेरे दोस्त अच्छे बने, I'm happy. और मेरे grades उस बच्चे से ज़्यादा I'm successful. I think that's a phase of our career. So you're an educationist. Walk us through, and we'll have an intense conversation on 27th of April as well. The phases, the elementary school type, the middle school, फिर high school आता है, फिर college, university में जाते हैं, फिर नौकरी करने जाते हैं, फिर नौकरी खत्म होती है, successful profession हो, and then you retire. So these are different buckets. Mind games are different. So walk us through the educationist Sabbah that works with children.
So when I work as an educationist, what has really helped me is I also pull from my own personal life and memories and so on. But I think very clearly, like you said, we can bracket maybe early childhood and the early years of school, where a child's happiness and success. So at that age, what is success? Actually, that is completely defined by parents and expectations. But also the entire world of the child at that point is just parents and immediate family and kya hai ho raha hai hamare gharon mein. Really, nothing else in the early years matters so much. Then we come to the difficult part, the adolescence and teenage years, where it becomes now breaking away from my family, especially parents and authority. And then you start seeking companionship in your own age group, peer group, and then role models or others. Validation, self-image banani hoti hai, all of that. So then there I think is when you actively start defining what is success. And then how do you balance happiness with that? Success in school, like you said, is probably just grades, peers, how do I look, and image. Aajkal, I think there is an added complication with social media and that validation online, which is a little dangerous. So we need to talk about that. And happiness will then be a balance of how are the parents handling this adolescent teenage phase with how much freedom a child is pushing for versus what they can, within the norms, what they can stay with. At that point, again, mostly in our culture and our system, it is school defines a lot of the success parameters. Then we get into college, where I think now as we start growing up, we have different ideas of what success means. Yes, peer group appreciation. Also, I would say academics, but also professoral validation, or jo bhi hai, some doing good in your, could be sports, music, art. So you're now developing other interests. Professional life is a whole different ball game, and I, as an educationist, believe that even from elementary school, we need to prepare our kids for real life. Uh, and in my school, at least, we try to really push the thought process that it's not about marks and grades anymore. Let's develop you as a person. Let's develop every single child has their own personality and skills and so on. That is something I really want, like a message to go across schools to parents and students. It's not marks, it's not your 99.9, because we have a craze for that in our system and setup. And that is where the challenge and pressure on kids comes in. So I will focus on school and college. Beyond that, though, everyone else is much more experienced than I. But if really we can focus on that in the session and talk to parents and teachers, the pressure on kids and what is it that you want from them, that would help balancing these things out.
Thank you, Savaji. Meri Mushtaq saab se baat hui thi, who's going to be your co-panelist. He also said that these are completely different brackets,
Yeah.
the phases of life, and they had to be handled differently in conversational such as this. So, जो ये हमारी भाई बहन ये इंटरव्यू देख रहे होंगे, I'm going to tell you a little bit about Sabaji. Within the Kashmir Care Foundation, when Sabaji talks, we listen. Sabaji is a remarkable person, and you'll get to hear more what that means. ये सेशन 27 अप्रैल 10:30 बजे सुबह हो रहा है. Please visit kashmircarefoundation.org, kashmircarefoundation.org. Get to know more about this foundation and register for this very important session, which perhaps is going to be part one of this conversation with Mushtaq Saab and Sabaji. Sabaji, I'm going to take you to a conversation I had with a niece of mine. And she said, अगर घर में खुशी होती है, घर में happiness होती है, chances are you're going to have a happier child, who's going to grounded child, foundation अच्छी बनेगी. Is that what you gather from your experiences as an educationist?
Absolutely, not only my experiences, hard science backs this, right? This is proven science. You have a emotionally supportive, happy home. Early childhood, particularly, is very, very key. What kind of a family are you giving? What kind of a setup? What kind of mahal kya hai ghar mein? The impact is immediate, but it is also long-term and lifelong. And it is very difficult to undo the harm done in the earlier years. Like, it is almost impossible to undo the harm. It takes a lot of effort, therapy, वगैरह. Better than that is understand very simply, provide a happy, caring, fear-free, kind of secure childhood to our kids, and it will have a lifelong impact. We will have better adults. It is visible in my school. Kids from happy families do better in school academically, personality-wise. They're emotionally well-regulated. They are secure and confident. And I have families, all teachers will know this. All of us know people children from troubled families will display a lot of behavioral problems. Academically, they will suffer, and they will definitely suffer as adults as well. So very simply, parents, be very mindful around kids, happy around them, provide them that safety, security. माँ बाप के बीच थोड़ी भी अनबन होती है. We might feel it's a small tiff, adults में होता रहता है, but it really is magnified in the mind of a child. The tension, the unease that your child feels. You can even think back to our childhood or our families. If we sensed something is wrong with the adults, it really had a very heavy impact on us as children. So, and science backs this. So be happy and around the child, safe, mind your language and tone, and these things will easily help your child do well in life.
And if I could add to that, keep your phones away when you're with your child. It's not necessary to have the TV on too. TV में आजकल होता भी क्या है, लड़ाइयाँ दिख रही हैं. So TV off, cell phones off. Have a conversation about your child. आज क्या किया बच्चे आपने? आज क्या सीखा? आज क्या पढ़ा? Talk about stuff. Talk about your upbringing when you were a child. और बच्चा जो बड़ा होगा वो वही फाउंडेशन लेके आगे चलेगा। सबा जी, हमारी जब बात हो रही थी कुछ दिनों पहले, वी टॉक्ड अबाउट दिस थ्री कोन्स ऑफ अ ट्रायंगल, which is a, I was pleased to know that this is established thing. You got parents on one end, you got students on other end, you got teachers on other end. Teachers is a system. Teacher, the management, the administration, the regulatory space. Parents is a heavy cone. Kashmir ki hisab se khaskar. There are grandparents in that cone. Pop te shamas, te pilter, te mam, te masu, te masi, te sari, siblings are there. The cousin component, which I think is the most important, because I was influenced a whole lot. I think I became what I became because of one of my cousins, Manzoor Naushari, who's in Germany right now. Uh, Talk to a little bit about what does parenting mean? How important it is to be actually a working parent.
Gee, so this whole this triangle is set up, that's center of pedagogy basically. Keep the child in the center, sure, but there are two other angles, which is your family, mostly parents, yeah. But like in Kashmir, the beauty is we have Hala, Masu, Chachus all around. Cousins is the beauty I find. I think all of us have grown up within that cousin. We don't need anyone else outside. हम अपनी families में इतने self-sufficient हैं. And then the elder cousins are always the ones you look up to and idolize, and your own cousins, the ones you grew up with. Um, so, and school, I would say, really cannot highlight the importance of school in a growing child's life. So, this is where management and teachers need to understand, move away from traditional kind of school, which is one unidirectional, ratta lagana, teach to the test kind of schooling. No, that school system has to nourish the child and the child's personality. And we need to move away from this craze of grades and so on. Unfortunately, the higher system is rigged towards that with your entrance tests and all. But still, within school, you can do both. I can do it in this really tiny school over here with first generation learners. I am achieving consistently high grades, but at the same time we provide all the co-curricular and extracurricular happiness that maybe a child is not getting in a village home over here. So reading and arts and music and sports, these are things that really enhance a child's overall personality. And then the main center of our, particularly Jammu Kashmir households, is the family. It's the cousins and the whole setup. In with these work, in these days, it is working parents definitely. It is highly stressed lives, but I feel there is a little more parents can do. And keeping in mind, children have changed, times have definitely changed. We cannot, of course, hark back to in my time it used to be like this, so on. So of course, there would be changes, but essentially, parenting and family comes down to spending one-on-one face time with each other, quality time, talking, anecdotes. Even you really, I think parents nowadays are afraid to let their children get bored. They don't even give them an inch of a minute or a half an hour break for kids to do nothing, which is, I think, very important. We used to get bored, and it helped us develop patience, and then it helped us develop some other creative stuff, amongst ourselves. Digital parenting, mobile parenting needs to be moved away from. We have so much richness within our families where we can spend time with each other. With working parents, it's even more important that you spend that quality time with your kids and real time. It is tough, but leave your mobile phones. It's a discipline we just have to inculcate. It will have really long lasting effects. These are memories, core memories that the children and young kids will grow up with that safety support at home, and that feeling that, oh, I have someone to listen here, rather than going out for validation or maybe harmful peers and so on. Yeah.
So zero mobile usage when you're with your children, fourth graders, sixth graders, starts with me. There's no reason to have the mobile phone in your hand. Your child is next to you. Talk to the child
Same.
about everything,
Yeah.
because those are informative years where they're building their foundation. Sabaji, um, born in Dubai, early foundation Dubai with extended Kashmiri family, mashallah. So I saw about a unique experience. Then you made a decision. Your parents facilitated that decision. Bangalore jana hai. Talk to us and talk to the children, especially. What is happiness and success? What did it mean to you then, and what does it mean to you now?
So again, like I said, in school, it was pretty much when I left home, it became very much that I have left home for a reason. My parents have spent so much money. I'm going to this boarding school. I really need to keep on top of my studies. But at the same time, in school, I found my happiness in extracurricular. Sports was always a big thing for me. We were always athletes in our family. So sports was a big, amazing kind of added place for me to show what I could do. The school encouraged it. The teachers were very helpful. Writing, creative writing. I found a lot of more opportunities in Bangalore to explore the cultural side. So first time in Dubai, you really don't have so much exposure to music or arts. It's not very easily available for regular families. Bangalore, the music scene, even at school level, my really amazingly talented school children. So watching them, seeing them do professional level music, and then college in college you have your band and a very vibrant music scene, theater, movies and movie festivals. This is where my world opened up really, finding your friends for life at that point and common interests, developing your personalities. All of this is what made me happy. And then the balance with studies. Number one, to मैं पढ़ाई के लिए आई हूँ. So it's easy for you to go off rails, and you're in a big city, no one to watch you. You can, and a lot of kids do that. They lose track of what they're supposed to do and bunk college and get into other stuff. I was pretty focused, thank God. Number it could be my upbringing, whatever, but that was always front and center in my mind. That पहले तो पढ़ाई होगी, बाद में, and everything else goes on. But I was not excelling in college or like aiming for gold medal, which in retrospect I could have tried, but it was like a good balance. I was doing okay in college. I enjoyed my college life. I learned a lot, and keeping in mind, you have to get your priorities right. Be sensible. You're away from home. खानदान का नाम साथ लेके चल रहे हैं. I tell the kids in my school also, everything you do, it will reflect on your family. I know your families. It shows your upbringing. So these are things I think that kept me personally grounded, and also the happiness I found within my academic achievements or my other achievements. In professional life, it was different. I had to prove a point. I had to do better. I had to learn a lot and show. I always enjoy showing good work and presenting good work. So that is something that I worked on. And now with the school, every single day is kind of, a little star at the end. I see a little kid in the mountains telling me, "Hi, ma'am, good afternoon," or a smile from the child. And then graduates of mine now in college, one is in Bangalore, some are in Aligarh. That's like really pinnacle for me. And inshallah, this keeps going, and we create. The whole point is to let this new generation out into the world and let them do well. So it's
Absolutely.
changing throughout.
मैंने अपने बच्चों को ये कहा है, and I told myself this: when your child is born, when you have your child, that's the only thing that's yours. Everything else is bought, or is given to you, or is gifted to you, or you found it. But the child is yours. Now, the child that is yours, you have to invest in that child. And that investment doesn't start when he or she child is पांचवी जमात में या छठी. So शुरू गसान, that child is 6 month old, 12 month old. So parenting starts then. Putting right systems in place starts then. And for both father and mother, the message is for both father and mother and whosoever is in that household. ऐसा नहीं है कि माँ बाप मैं काम करता हूँ तो मुझे ये काम नहीं करना है. नहीं, ये सबसे बड़ा काम है आपका, to make sure that the foundation. Sabbah ji, you've seen so many geographies within the Jammu and Kashmir. You also seen geographies, and we'll talk obviously more on the session. Are the constraints different there versus what maybe in Doda?
I mean, geographically and physically, yes. For instance, just the weather itself, things are very dramatic up here in the mountains. Hurricanes, no, sorry, not hurricanes, windstorms. We have really strong windstorms, and walking, a lot of our kids are just walking. We have no roads up here. So kids walk 1.5 hours up and down the mountains. You have to watch out for falling rocks. You have to watch out for windstorm में तो टीन भी उड़ जाते हैं ना. That's very dangerous. The other day, within 5 minutes, we had a terrible hailstorm. Kids were on the way home. They were already out of school, so now out of our hands. These are things that's like the physical aspect of it. The other constraints are, of course, these are primarily first generation high school goers. The parents, जो system इन्होंने देखा है, education system, it is not really system. So essentially parents here feel बच्चे को school में डाल दिया and that's it. Now it's completely up to the school, जो भी हो. आपके पास, they literally say, God से खुदा सवाल पछुतोय हवाल. And we're like, no, but they're your kids. They're with us for 5 or 6 hours. You really have to put in work. So guiding the parents to parenting over here is number one thing. They don't have, let's say they don't even have a print-rich background at home. Kids just, that's a very simple, stark difference between an educated family, educated background or kids here. No books at home at all. This habit of building reading is a very uphill task for us. Parenting style is still very old fashioned and बच्चों को सर पे नहीं चढ़ाना, उनको लिफ्ट नहीं देनी, उनकी सुननी नहीं है. That we work, I mean, that works against us where we want to build confident, outspoken kids who think for themselves because यहाँ पे बोलते हैं अच्छु को मिलावन, are you looking to the eyes of an elder when you talk? And in school we're like, when you talk to someone you have to look at them as etiquette. So these clashes are, you know, they're there. And we understand that every school has its own context. See, urban kids from rich families will have a different set of problems. And so in our village, we've learned how to deal with it and help over the years. Bringing parents on board is very, very important. School and parents really have to work. Again, it comes to the triangle. Bringing them on board, have regular meetings with parents, explain to them what it is we are trying to do and how they can help. Criticizing will not work. That never works. So we try to work together, get them to understand where we are coming from and why.
Sabbah Ji, we just had a glimpse of your cat. Our cat also loved the keyboard. Whenever I was on the laptop or desktop, she would sit on the keyboard. So these are beautiful creatures also.
Yeah.
Sabbah Ji, आपने पहले शुरुआत की and you were coming to that point consistently is that it's not just the grade. It's just not the 94%, 98%. You had to create a complete package. अगर वो बच्चा जो 95% ला रहा है मगर आंख में आंख मिला के बात नहीं कर रहा, गर्दन छुबोन को करान मार्केट प्लेस में, ग्लोबल मार्केट प्लेस में उस बच्चे की वैल्यू कम है. सो ये पेरेंट्स के लिए है, टीचर्स तो अपना काम करेंगे ही स्कूल में, आप भी टीचर्स हो. You should also bring in that component of self-confidence, and that self-confidence comes with an environment, and we'll obviously talk about it a little more. Sabbah Ji, as I conclude this session, talk to parents of a 1-year-old, 5-year-old, as he or she, they mature into becoming a middle schoolers and high schoolers.
I am just astounded at the seriousness of how much parenting affects early years of a child, the early brain, how much it impacts the rest of our lives. And I very recently learned this. I've been in education for a long time. 2 साल पहले मैं जान गई कि up to 90 to 95% of your child's brain architecture is done by the age of 5 or 6. That's the architecture is done for life in the first 5 years of life. If the first 5 years of life are happy, safe, in a loving family, लड़ाइयाँ नहीं हो रही है, ज़बान ठीक है सबकी, there is less conflict, keeping in mind also. Now, this is such vital information which I, so educated, am learning very late in life. I really feel the messaging has to go across from the government. It should really go across and help to parents, increasing awareness about how to raise kids, especially in the early childhood years, how to do it well. It's a very vital time. In short and very simply, just make sure it's a very supportive, loving atmosphere for your kids at home. They should be seeing a lot of the habits or mannerisms that you want a responsible adult in the future to have. So aapka culture, aapki tameez, men and women working together, respect for each other in the household, all of this is something kids are picking up and you don't even know, because we don't really pay attention to kids below 5. They're just the cute factor in our lives a lot of the time, but they are sponges taking in everything. So the first 5 years are literally the most vital part of any parent's job to get it done right. So parents pay a lot of attention. Please go for 0 screen time in 0 to 5 years. It is essential. It is proven scientifically that screen time in that very very sensitive age is not good at all. It's just a matter of habit. Children will get accustomed to anything you give throw at them. That's the whole point of parenting. They're okay with everything, they adapt and adjust. And then it continues in early childhood, in your early schooling years and college. Just be there for your kid. um, Maybe our culture, some of us are very strict with our kids or feel we shouldn't communicate towards what distance. वो ठीक है, वो अपना अदब और respect ठीक है, but little more openness where they are open with you, they can talk to you, that sense of security, that sense of I can really tell my parents or my siblings anything. That's very vital, especially in today's age where there are just people waiting to pounce on innocent kids on the internet or outside. This is a reality. So instead of that happening, just be that safe place at home. A very no, इससे कुछ ज्यादा करना नहीं, खुश रहे, घर में रहे, enjoy each other. There will be conflicts and fights. That's also part of growing up. But as far as possible, that should be the main focus. Spend time with your kids, mothers and fathers. It is not just the mother's responsibility. This might be a cultural thing. Fathers have a very huge role to the male role models of the family. Very, very important. And be the way you want your kids to be in the future. अगर आप expect करें वो gentlemen and officers and high, very gracious, graceful ladies बने, तो आपका behavior वैसे ही होना चाहिए फिर from the very beginning. I mean, that's just simple tips and tricks.
Absolutely. It's a teamwork. Men and women had to have both same hand, same responsibility, and the same task at home, which I personally believe mardan ch kitchen was the काम करें.
It's
बाना चलन तिमोर
बिल्कुल
आपने कुछ लिखित आने के तो छुन बाना चलन तो छुन किचन में काम करो तो छुन doing. Everyone has to. That's what child will understand. Sabbah Ji, the response we've gotten for your session is immense. But through this interaction, I want to again tell audience who's going to be watching your session to please look at the Kashmir Care Foundation website, kashmircarefoundation.org, and register if you haven't. This is going to be part one of a multiple series where we build this capacity building at household level. With that, Sabbah Ji, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Please take care of yourself.
Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam.